Hello friends, Kenji Egashira aka Numatanami here, and welcome to another episode of the Pro Tour Gauntlet series. Last time we saw the former terrifying menace of Modern, the Eldrazi, make up a large number of the decks that did well at Magic the Gathering's highest level. This time, at Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad, we had a full set of entirely new, unique decks that made up the top 8. Just as last time, I'll be piloting some of these decks, all for the very first time, in a similar fashion to what you'll be able to do. Did you watch the Pro Tour and want to try Steve Rubin's winning green-white tokens deck, as shown on the screen here? You have the opportunity to do so. Or perhaps you wanted to go bigger and wanted to play Brad Nelson's Goggles ramp deck. You can do that too. The Gauntlet gives you the ability to try out some of the awesome new decks to come out of the Pro Tour without having to collect all of the cards to do so. So without further ado, let's give Steve Rubin's list a run and see what it's like to play as if I was piloting this deck at the premier level. Alright my friends, here we are for the very first match, and we are playing with Steve Rubin's green-white tokens list. Let's play first, because that seems like something I'd want to do with this deck. And this hand seems pretty decent to me. Don't have a 2-drop, but can already cast Thraben Inspector and Nissa, Voice of Zendikar. Then of course we have double Gideon in our hand as well. Hopefully we can go off pretty explosively. I think well, let's see. Canopy Vista is a forest plains for fortified village, so we can actually just lead with plains here. We want to hit more basics for our Canopy Vista if possible. Alright, Archangel Abyss in the draw for us, so we can play the fortified village, reveal Canopy Vista, and sacrifice the clue at end of the opponent's turn here, as well as getting in for 1 point of damage. I'm unable to cast Nissa unless I do draw another land, though. This was one of the downside of going with this. Fortunately for us, we did. No, I can't actually cast Nissa still. I need to draw a green source. Because if I play Canopy Vista, it doesn't actually enter the battlefield untapped. So I guess we just go plains here, attack for 1, and then go Gideon next turn. The only way I could have done this differently, I guess, is going turn 1 Canopy Vista, turn 2 Fortified Village, and then turn 3 I would have been able to cast Nissa, which I guess was probably better, but I assumed I would have drawn a land. Looks like we're playing a mirror match here. Yeah, there are Sylvan Advocates in this deck as well. Alright. Well, how about 3 Gideons? A little bit Gideon flooded. Given our hand, I wonder if I'm supposed to just immediately make an emblem. Because this deck also runs Dromoka's Command, so the opponent could potentially bash in and hit Gideon. I feel like in this matchup it's probably correctest to emblem immediately, especially given my hand. Like, yes, the continued production is nice, but I think because we have 2 more Gideons, we'd rather just make our creatures larger. Now, this is slightly awkward if the opponent does play their own Gideon. Okay, oh, it looks like they're going to play the Tireless Tracker. Alright, so maybe this is a little bit different, because I don't think Steve Rubin's list plays Tireless Tracker. Oath of Nissa, obviously not terrible. In fact, I think I probably lead with Oath of Nissa here. If I hit a land, then I'm able to cast Gideon. If not, I can always just cast Nissa, because the Oath allows me to pay any mana for it. Right, and we did in fact hit a fortified village, but that enters the battlefield tapped. We're going to go ahead and take that here. We really need that 5th land because we have 2 Avacyn in our hand. So we can pay any colors. And I'm just going to plus here. And pass the turn. These plant tokens are probably going to be doing a lot of chumping versus the Tireless Tracker. Oh, okay, so my opponent's just going to be playing the Bant Coco list, it looks like. Okay, Sylvan Advocate's coming at Nissa, as is the Tracker. So like I said, the plant's going to go in front of the Tireless Tracker, and we're just going to bounce off the Sylvan Advocate with our Thraben Inspector. If the opponent has a Dromoka's Command, that's fine. I feel like they probably would have done that prior to combat. I guess Reflector Mage is pretty annoying, but now that I have my 5th land, I'm just going to hold up Avacyn here. Or I could play Gideon and start producing tokens. The problem is I think the opponent is going to be doing their Collected Company this turn, and I'd rather hold up Avacyn. just in case. It's also possible he's just sacrificing their clue tokens, but whenever your opponent leaves up man like this, it's it always feels like a collected company. And wow, Reflector Mage to bounce and Browning Crisis to tap. That's quite annoying. We see the power level of this deck. I'm glad I didn't go with Gideon, otherwise I'd be losing probably 2 Planeswalkers this turn. A nice thing is, with Avacyn, if I lose a creature, I effectively board wipe the opponent's board, because when Avacyn transforms, remember, it deals 3 damage to each other creature and each opponent. Now, I think the opponent probably puts me on Avacyn pretty highly here, and might attack most of their creatures at my Nissa just to get rid of it, but yeah. So everything but the Sylvan Advocate is coming at Avacyn. Oh, sorry, at Nissa. So I'll flash in the Archangel here, hope that the opponent doesn't have another Collected Company, and if they do, hope they don't hit another Bounding Crisis or Reflector Mage. And I think I probably block the Tireless Tracker here, because he can only sacrifice 2 clues currently, and even though I could technically eat the Sylvan Advocate, because I'm going to be losing Nissa no matter what, the Tireless Tracker is just providing a constant source of advantage for the opponent with all the clues. See what they have. Alright, sacrifice a clue in response. That doesn't do anything. Remember, Avacyn's a 5/5 because of my Gideon emblem, and also she has Indestructible because of her Enters the Battlefield ability. A lot of text on that card. A lot of text on that card. Let's make the battlefield a little bit larger for you guys to see. I think things are going well so far. If I eat the Tireless Tracker here, I'm going to feel pretty good about myself. Yeah, we're losing Nissa, but if I draw a land, we get to go Sylvan Advocate plus Gideon. And remember, the Sylvan Advocate will be, let's see, a 4/5. It'll be a 5/6 because of the emblem and the 6th land. Plus, we're producing 3/3s with Gideon. Or we draw a Hangerback Walker, which isn't terrible, honestly. It's not bad. Let's go to combat. Attack with Avacyn. See what happens. Alright. Get in for 5. Okay. Opponent has 4 mana left, so they could potentially have another Collected Company here. I think I'm going to go Advocate for 1, or rather Advocate for its mana cost and Hangerback Walker for 1. I don't see leaving up another Archangel here since we have one on the battlefield already. If the opponent's just sacking their clue, that's fine with me. Looks like a Bounding Crisis here, though. Alright, tap the Avacyn. Seems fine. Sacrifice their clue. Alright, and I feel like we're still in pretty darn good position here. Three cards in the opponent's hand, 3 cards in mine, but mine's got a bevy of Planeswalkers and another Avacyn in case the... I'm not quite sure how my Avacyn would die. I guess a Declaration in Stone. I mean, Hangerback Walker is such a good chump blocker, just because if I do get tokens, I already have 1 emblem. I can potentially have multiple more, plus there are more Nissas in my deck to further pump. In fact, if the opponent's attacking here, I'm actually going to just block with the Thraben Inspector, happily, right? The beginning of the... Oh, it's the next upkeep. Okay. Yeah, so I think we block like this. Well, So again, I want the Avacyn to flip because it eats 3 of my opponent's creatures and only technically 1 of, or I guess 2 of mine. But if I chump block like this, takes 6. Well, I guess I want to force a Dromoka's Command if possible. This is actually not the best case scenario for us. Alright, I'm gonna block with Thraben Inspector, take 6, and have my Avacyn threaten transform next turn. So if the opponent plays any more creatures, they're most certainly going to die. I think they're probably just passing turn here, and they might use like a Dromoka's command on upkeep to save one of their Bounding Crisis. We'll see what happens here, though. Oh, okay, this is 4 mana. Wait. Oh, an Avacyn of their own. Okay. That's actually really cute. So their creatures are indestructible. Okay, so I'm going to lose my Hangerback Walker. But you know what I can do? I can flash in my Avacyn this turn to kill Avacyn. Wait, whenever... Oh, a non-angel creature. Never mind, that doesn't work. Actually, no, wait, that does work. That does work. Okay, so with the Avacyn trigger on the stack, I can flash in my Avacyn. No, wait, this doesn't... Wait. Oh my gosh, I'm so confused. Well... This is super weird. I didn't realize you could have these on the battlefield at the same time. Well, this is why we play the Pro Tour Gauntlet, to learn what it's like to be a pro. Wow. So I assumed that the legendary rule would trigger and that I would lose one of my angels. I don't... Yeah. In fact, I don't even know what I was doing. This is interesting. This game got really cool. I'm not sure what's going on now. Oh my. Yeah. Well, how's that for you? This is great, honestly. Reflector Mage from the opponent off of Duskwatch Recruiter. Duskwatch is one of the better cards to come out of Shadows over Innistrad for sure. We've seen this card just do great things in Limited, of course, but now it's making its waves in Standard. I'm still kind of reeling over what just happened that previous turn, though. Like, my Avacyn triggered because I had trumped with my Thraben Inspector. Opponent flashed in their Avacyn in response to the Transform trigger. I flashed in my Avacyn. I assumed mine was going to die. But that's awesome. Because I guess they're different names. Because you can have like different dragon, like you can have Dragonlord Dromoka and the other Dromoka on the battlefield at the same time. Because technically they're different cards. I assume that's the same thing. Or you can have Jace, for instance, and Jace the Planeswalker, that type of thing. I just assumed if they were creatures, they wouldn't be able to do that, but. Not sure what the opponent's doing over there. They have Reflector Mage in hand, what we know about, and one unknown. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, looks like the opponent is going to play that Reflector Mage after all. I'm not sure what they're going to bounce here. Okay, so they're going to bounce my Archangel Avacyn. They have 5 creatures they can attack with. I have 3 blockers, all of them very, very powerful. I don't think they'll be attacking here. At least I don't recommend it for them. Let's put some counters on this. I think we want to draw Dromoka's command. That's a good one for us. Another land is not. I mean, we can attack in here with the Sylvan Advocate for sure. I don't know if I want to attack with this Avacyn, though, because that just might leave me dead to another Reflector Mage or Bounding Crisis. But then again, if I do attack with both of these, the opponent is forced to block one. And... Oh, and then it transforms... Yeah, so let's force the transform on the opponent's Avacyn. Kind of blow them out of the water. Right? Because they have to block with a creature here, and unless they block with Avacyn, one of their other creatures is going to die. Oh yeah, this is good. Okay. Okay. Oh my. That's that's all fine. So we'll just order one of the Bounding Krasis first. And I think we just offer up the trade here. Okay, so the opponent's going to trigger. Oh, had I flashed in my Archangel, she would have flipped, and because the opponent didn't block my other Avacyn. Oh, shoot, that was a mistake on my part. So I should have flashed in the Avacyn after all. My creature wouldn't have died, but... Oh, my creature wouldn't have died. Never mind. Never mind. Of course, because it gives indestructible. Alright, well, let's see if the opponent can do something here. I think they probably need to hit another Avacyn. Okay, Sylvan Advocate's definitely not going to do it. So now the opponent's Avacyn's going to trigger, and it's going to deal 3 damage to each other creature. I'm not going to put a counter on Hangerback Walker. I want the Hangerback Walker to die, so that I get the tokens. Okay, again, opponent using more Duskwatch Recruiters. Alright, transform. Effective board wipe. I get 3 1/1s, or rather 2/2 flyers, and I have Avacyn in my hand. Oh, sorry, I only get 2, right. It was a 3/3 because of the Gideon emblem, but it only actually had 2 counters on it. Right, okay. This makes more sense now. But yeah, I just flash in Avacyn and we should be good to go. Opponent has 2 Sylvan Advocates in their hand, so unless their last card is great, and apparently it isn't, we win this game. That was, wow, that was a crazy game. This is why playing decks that you've never played before can be so daunting. Like, I consider myself a decent player, more so in the limited category than constructed for sure. But this is really a nice way to learn how to, well, to pilot, I guess. In this matchup, I think we want to bring in the Quarantine Field for sure. I think the Declarations in Stone are probably pretty good. The opponent plays a lot of multiples. I don't think these Dromoka's commands are necessary. I mean, they're playing the Bant list, so no burn or whatever. We can fight with creatures, but that doesn't seem that good. I think Tragic Arrogance is probably decent here as well. And as is Linvala. I kind of want another Secure the Waste, but I think we'd bring in the Quarantine Field, Linvala, and probably the Tragic Arrogance. I'm not sure what we take out here, though. I just brought in Declarations. I guess Evolutionary Leap is not as amazing in this particular matchup. Maybe Secure the Waste is not so good here. I don't know. I didn't see any Declaration in Stone from the opponent, but I assume they have some number. All right, let's bring in Linvala. Let's bring in Actually, is Quarantine Field even that good? Probably not. No. I guess the opponent's going wider, so I'd rather just have the Tragic Arrogance than the Quarantine Field. I'm going to take out the Stasis Snare. I'd rather have... Because the opponent has like a wide variety of creatures, but none that are too relevant by themselves. So we'd rather go with the wide. And maybe I just cut like a Thraben Inspector. That seems fine. I'm going to ship it like this. I'm sure there's much better sideboard options, but again, we are practicing just like the Pro Tour Gauntlet, and this is how I would sideboard, I guess, not knowing what the actual strategy. So let's submit this, and we will go to Game 2. Righto, here we are for Game 2 with Steve Rubin's Pro Tour winning green-white tokens list. We are on the draw, and it seems like we have a pretty decent hand. Good mana, 2 Inspectors, an Oath, and now a Sylvan Advocate. So let's lead with the Fortified Village here. Play the Thraben Inspector. I guess there's some utility to holding on for another turn, but it's like very minimal information gains. Ooh, a turn 2 Duskwatch is not what I want to see. That is definitely something I will be using a Declaration Stone on, but not right now. I think we just want to develop out our board. If I didn't have a play besides the Declaration this turn, then I would have done so. But I think just playing creatures is perfectly fine here. Another option I actually had was playing Oath of Nissa, and seeing if I can hit a turn 3 Nissa. But as it stands, I'm perfectly fine with this scenario. Looks like the opponent's missing some white sources, though. They opted to transform their Duskwatch. Avacyn's a little bit harder to cast with no double white. Alright, so that transforms. Fortified Reveal Plains. Let's go ahead and just use a declaration on that right now. And then the Oath of Nissa, in case we hit a Gideon or a Nissa under it. We did not. We hit a Westvale Abbey, though, which is fine. Canopy Vista and Declaration, number 2 going to the bottom. We'll bash in for 3 here. Worst case scenario, I use the clue next turn if I don't draw anything else to do besides this Thraben Inspector already in my hand. Opponent's just passing up with Collected Company mana. A little bit unfortunate that we drew another land after that as well, so let's draw a card. I guess we're playing out 2 Thraben Inspectors. Kind of awkward. But, I mean, I can't really afford to attack in a Collected Company. And I'm fine just developing out my board when we have Westvale Abbey in hand. But granted, Westvale Abbey is really awkward versus Bounding Krasis, Reflector Mage, Archangel Avacyn. Like, you have to use it at a very specific moment. Alright, there's a Collected Company we assumed would be coming down. I guess Reflector Mage bounces the Advocate and one of the Inspectors gets tapped. Yeah, again, worst case scenario, we just use some clues next turn. This is actually fine, not amazing. But nothing else I can do, really. This hand would have been insane if we had any Planeswalkers. Even just a Gideon would have been great. Or, you know, a Nissa would have been great on turn 3 as well. But I'm not sure if the opponent was sandbagging the white sources or not. Because they went Lumbering Falls, Forest Island into Double Prairie Stream. But it's very possible they were, since, you know, the Prairie Streams entered the battlefield tapped unless they have 2 basics. So Avacyn now a thing that the opponent can do. I think we're in rough shape unless we can hit some nice ones off these clues. Alright, Nissa, again, not great here. Would die instantly to an Archangel Avacyn. I cannot recast the... Oh, wait. Oh, this was at the end of my turn? Ah, right, so we can cast the Sylvan Advocate. My mistake. Totally forgot that was a thing. In that case, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to Nissa after casting the Advocate and put a counter on all my creatures. Still can't really afford to attack here, or at least I don't want to, because the opponent has Avacyn in hand. But we'll see what happens here. I do feel a little bit better about my position. Granted, not amazing, of course. Hopefully Archangel Avacyn just attacks Nissa. I wouldn't be too upset with that. Gaining me 4 life, and Nissa's already done her job. Uh-oh, pre-combat spells. What is this? Ah, okay, so the opponent also brought in Tragic Arrogance. Funny enough, I have a clue, which means I only get to keep one of them. Oh, and Avacyn's going to transform because the opponent is sacrificing 2 of their creatures. So I'm actually going to lose my Thraben Inspector. So it's actually better for the opponent here to attack me, I guess, instead of attacking Nissa, because the Nissa... Oh, okay, well, they messed up, right? Because the Nissa is going to transform, so they would have been able to get 1 more damage on me. In theory, anyways. Okay. I guess that's not a bad draw, but it doesn't actually do anything since I don't have... If I had a Gideon Emblem, that would be insane. I'd be able to flash an Avacyn and eat the opponent's Avacyn. But here, I'm just bouncing off, which is, I think, what I have to do. But yeah, we are not looking too good this game. I wonder if I'm supposed to leave in Tragic Arrogance if the opponent is running their own. Maybe I'm supposed to bring in more Secure the Wastes and go wide. That's definitely a thing that could happen. But with so many Avacins in this matchup, like the tokens die very, very easily. One transform of an Avacyn and they all get wiped unless I already have 3 emblems of sorts or 2 emblems and like a Nissa pump. Like that seems a little bit unlikely. All right, Bounding Krasis. Gonna tap my Avacyn before blocks, so the opponent's getting in for the full 6 here. I'm at 6 life. And the opponent still has 3 cards in their hand. Again, not feeling too confident about this one. Let's see what we draw. Well, that's definitely not it. Let's look for something. Sack our 1 clue. And Gideon. I guess I'm probably supposed to emblem here. If I emblem that our Avacyn trade, and I'm not technically dead on board, I will be taking 3, of course. And I am just dead to a ton of cards, but I think this is the play that we have to make, given the circumstances. Otherwise, I'd just have to chump with my Avacyn. Yeah, I mean, if you have another Bounding Krasis or something, I'm dead. Or another Reflector Mage, for that matter. Oh, I guess Lumbering Falls is on the battlefield. We are just dead on board. Never mind. There was nothing I could do though, right? If I make a token, then I'm chumping my Avacyn there to their Avacyn, which I guess because of that, as opposed to being dead on board, I would have another turn potentially. But yes, we are in fact dead here. Yeah, so I would have been able to chump the Avacyn. Well, it would have been a double chump. Chump Avacyn, chump one of the ground creatures, and then drawn Nissa and died anyways? Okay, so mainly irrelevant. I guess Clip Wings is a thing if the opponent only has Avacyn as the flying creature. I'm going to take out these Tragic Arrogance. I'm going to bring in that Secure the Wastes as well. Let's try this instead. I guess Avacyn from the opponent's side is a creature that I'd want to Stasis Snare too. All right. You know what? I am going to bring that back in as well. I think I'm going to reship it like this and see if we can take the 3rd game of this matchup. Alrighty, game 3 with Steve Rubin's green-white tokens list. We are on the play, and this hand seems fine. Turn 1 Oath of Nissa. Hopefully hitting a land here. Oh, geez, no land. Already have Avacyn in hand. Don't want them all. I think we take Gideon. But obviously need to hit some lands here. I still have a turn 2 play, which is nice, but things could get awkward. Yeah, I need to hit a land real bad. Our curve is great if we just run off some lands here. Advocate into Nissa, into Gideon. Let's go. Come on. We can do this. Nice. All right. I'm going to let the opponent have Jace for a turn, I think. I'd rather develop out my Planeswalker here. And I'll tack in for 2. And it is, I think, almost impossible for the opponent's deck to flip Jace, or transform Jace next turn with only 1 card in the graveyard and it being turn 3. The question is, do I want it to play Gideon next turn if I hit a land, or still cast Declaration? I think if I draw a land, I'd probably just Declaration Hangerback Walker. That seems like a pretty good turn. Of course, if we don't hit a land, then we'll just Declaration the Jace. Okay, well, 3 mana. This is probably Bounding Krasis, which is not pleasant for me. You know what? I'm going to go like this instead. I'm going to play Sylvan Advocate here. I'm going to minus Nissa, and that way I can attack in for 3 with Sylvan Advocate if the opponent doesn't tap it down, which I assume they might. This also means I have another 3/4 blocker for the Krasis. Oh wait, he tapped the wrong one. Whoops. Now I get to attack in with my unsummoning sick one. In desperate need of a land here, obviously. And I'm playing it really risky with that Jace, but I don't mind getting aggressive here. Would not entirely be surprised to see a main deck Collected Company if the opponent has one. Because they might be able to kill my Nissa if they do. Six cards currently in opponent's hand. 5 when they discard after the Jace trigger. Well, that's definitely a bad sign if they're discarding a Collected Company. I can only assume they have at least 2 in their hand. I almost certainly have 1 Collected Company in the opponent's hand. Possibly 2. Even a Reflector Mage isn't that good for me here. Wow, nothing? Huh. No plays from the opponent, and we did hit a land. How do I want to just use Nissa up right now? No, I think I can afford to plus. We'll go to combat and see if the opponent does anything. Okay. They don't have 5 mana. They can't Avacyn. And I don't entirely mind trading. Wow, so they didn't want to do that main phase? That seems weird to me. I mean, again, we knew the opponent had it, but this is, I guess, odd. 4 cards in the opponent's hand. So we get to play Hangerback for 1 and then Declaration the Jace. I guess the opponent probably double blocks. We'll see what their Reflector Mage target is, whether they bounce a token, which they do end up doing, or one of the Sylvan Advocates. So I guess Bounding Krasis and Reflector Mage go in front of one of my Advocates here. And we'll just take care of the Bounding Krasis. Opponent already on 12, which is not too bad. Alright, Hangerback for 1. Declaration Jace. Must do it this turn now, otherwise the opponent would be able to flashback the Collected Company. One of the Collected Companies from the graveyard anyways. And a lot of times giving the opponent a clue this early is not that relevant. Because they'd rather be doing things already in their hand. Of course, the opponent's on the pivotal 5 mana now, so we might see an Avacyn be coming down shortly. Almost certainly going to be putting counters on my creatures with Nissa next turn. Oh, it looks like the opponent has something else to do. Alright, so Bounding Krasis, assuming they tap down my Advocate and attack Nissa with both creatures. That's not that bad for me, if that is the case. Oh, they're tapping the plant token. I guess they have a Declaration of Stone of their own. Or what's going on here? Did we see? No. No, we didn't see that. Not sure what this is. Again, Declaration in Stone is like the go-to removal spell. Oh, it is a Dromoka's Command. Okay. Again, I didn't expect that. Now, do I want to leave Hangerback or keep ticking Nissa? I can keep Nissa by upticking. Or sorry, by blocking one of the creatures here. But what's the game plan after that? Then I like Gideon Emblem? Is that even good? No, not really. I might just let Nissa die. I think our Hangerback Walker might be too important. Alright. Well, we drew Avacyn, or drew a land for Avacyn, which is nice. Could also considered Gideon plus ticking up the Hangerback. I think this is obviously pretty telling of what we have in our hand. 5 mana pass, but gotta do what you gotta do. We'll see what the opponent can come up with. Alright, well, Show me. Happily block the 4/4 here. And indestructible means I might as well just prevent 2 damage. Are we going to see an Avacyn versus Avacyn? All right, sacrifice of the clue. That's a good start for me. That means they might be looking for another collected company. And we just ate it. Okay, now they should have done that pre-blocks. Maybe they might have found another Bounding Krasis to tap the Avacyn down and save one of their creatures. As it stands, it looks like we're in good shape here. Duskwatch Recruiter, sure. Ooh, a Secure the Wastes. I guess Yeah, I guess I just pass and hold up Secure the Wastes for 4, and then I can play Gideon and Emblem. If Gideon Emblem would have made Archangel Avacyn a 2-turn clock, I would have. But I would have dealt 10 damage, and the opponent's currently at 11, so I think we just pass with Secure the Wastes here. Wonder if the opponent wants to use their Duskwatch in response. Okay, they do. And did they get anything good? If anything at all, for that matter. Tireless Tracker, that's not too relevant here. Now remember, all our creatures cost 1 less, though, so... Oh, he paid a green for that? Or rather, he paid a life for that? Does the opponent have something else they can do in their hand? I'm confused. Oh, wow. Tireless Tracker with fetch lands like Evolving Wilds are kind of gross, aren't they? Sick. Alright, Nissa transformed, reveals another Duskwatch which they can cast. But it looks like they're holding something up here. I mean, I'll happily take 1 damage. Oh, sorry. You know what? I should have blocked here. I would have gotten a flying creature, and then I would have been able to Emblem for the win. But as it stands, I think we just win anyways. Secure the Waste for 4. Into Gideon. Emblem. And we attack with everything. Seems good to me. Yeah, I misplayed there. The Hangerback Walker should have definitely blocked, and then I would have just had 2 flyers. But I think we're good to go. We have 6 ground attackers. Opponent only has 4 ground blockers. And Avacyn, of course, looking like she gets in for 5 points of damage here. And that's the match. All right, so we won our match here with Steve Rubin's Pro Tour winning green-white tokens list. That first game was really weird. The double Avacyn kind of blew my mind. Game 2, we kind of just got stomped, as you do. And Game 3, we were able to take it with the combination of sweet early creatures and planeswalkers. Let's go on to the next one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this look.